welcome to Check It Out, Comrade, an indie game podcast where every 2 weeks we bring you two indie games and tell you what we like about them. If I could say it correctly. I'm Nick Glover.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this week we're doing the Swapper and OlliOlli.
Swapper.
Yep.
The Swapper. Nick,
Yes.
tell me about the Swapper.
I will. So the Swapper is a puzzle platformer. It was released for Windows in May of 2013 and was ported to Mac and Linux in February of 2014 and is now on track to be released for PS3, for Vita, and Wii U.
Mm-hmm. It's everywhere you want to be.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that's pretty much the basis of it. Why don't you go ahead and tell us what you liked about the Swapper?
Yeah. So it's just be noted. So like Curve Studios, the company that made this, they crowdfunded it, and I think one of the reasons why they got so much attention is because the game's art style, which rather than being polygons or anything like that, it's actually clay models.
Yeah.
Which is super cool. Like, it looks really, really neat.
Yeah, it does. The art style is definitely one of the bigger selling points, in my opinion.
Yeah. And it is it's a game, you are exploring a space station, and you end up getting this, similar to a portal gun, like a gun with two functions, a flashlight, essentially lets you make up to 4 clones of yourself and then switch consciences between them. And it's got a little bit of like a Metroidvania too, just in kind of the mapping and, gating off previous areas. You have to backtrack, but it's not dependent on your abilities. It's not like, I have the super jump, so I can get up to this point. It's more like, I've cleared this area, so now I can go back to this area. So in that way, it feels a little bit superfluous. But the cool thing about it is that kind of like dripping atmosphere. Like, it looks really neat. Everything from like when you start it up, the title screen, the music, and just kind of the lighting and everything. Everything looks just super, super spooky and desolate.
Yeah, Derelict Space Station is pretty much like one of the best settings of any form of media. It's always good.
Yeah, it is always good. It is the number one reason why I want there to be space stations.
Yeah,
is so we can later abandon them and haunt the fuck out of them.
Yep.
So, because if we're gonna run into anything spooky, it's gonna be there.
Yep.
The actual mechanic is kind of it's weird. Like it I think it seems neater than it is, like on first blush.
Yeah.
Like at first it's like, oh, this is really, really cool, but then when you get into what you're actually doing with it, it's a little bit less revelatory than it seems initially. How far did you get to where they started doing the kind of heavy reflex puzzles?
I've only had a couple, not too heavy. I've had to like catch clones midair and swap to them as they were falling and stuff. Like
time freezes when you're aiming the gun, so
or slows down significantly.
Yeah, exactly. And so like some of the stuff is just trying to figure out, like, it's lots of levers. Like, how do you make a clone stay on this lever while still getting to the spot? But then they also introduced this section where you can kind of like climb and fall gently by switching between clones.
Yeah, I've had to use major climbing and falling by swapping midair using the time slow.
Yeah, and it's like kind of neat, but it gets frustrating when it's down to that split second precision. It's like a puzzle game, but it's also based on reflexes a little bit. So that wasn't my favorite thing about it. It also has it's very verbose for a story game. Like there's a lot of text and voice in it.
Yeah.
And I feel like it could stand to do like some more environmental storytelling with these beautiful environments.
Yeah, it didn't seem to take advantage much of the whole setting is, this derelict space station, but none of the actual environment itself is telling any of the story. Except for a couple times we like start to see, kind of like seeing a second Samus the first time in the GBA Metroid. It's like you start seeing other people and that starts freaking you out, right? Because there's not supposed to be anything else here. But other than that, like all of the story is text based. And it's kind of just a computer you go to. Yeah, you just go to a computer, you get a new log, and that's the whole basis of the story.
Yeah, which is kind of a bummer. And then like I didn't get too far into it, but like the story it's heading towards, there's like some heavy weird mysticism to it that I'm not so into.
Right.
Like and it's also there's no way that the twist isn't going to be that the humans, like it's not going to be like, there's no way that it isn't like the Prestige.
Right.
You know, that every one of these people you're killing to get there, like the end scene's got to be like every swapped out body you've ever had, you know, just in a big pile or something like that, which like I could see that having a really emotional effect. You know, and it's a interesting kind of theming, like what, you know, what are the results of these, you know, these tools that we use,
Right.
you know, but it just weirdly like telegraphed, like that could not be the case, but that really felt like where it was going.
Yeah, and yeah, that's definitely what it feels like, and it's exactly the Prestige. Like, if that is what they go for, which I didn't finish it either, but like, if that's what they lead up to, then sorry, I've heard that story.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the mechanics need enough, but it without constant, it doesn't like introduce a whole lot of new elements as you go on. The puzzles just get more complex, and they did a really good job of designing puzzle levels around this single mechanic, but it's a little much without any further variation, in my opinion.
Yeah. It gets a little bit stale. And like I'm also, this is a personal bias, but I'm also just a little bit sick of puzzle platformers, I think.
Yeah.
I feel like, and that this is not found anything, it doesn't bear anything on the quality, but I feel like they've kind of become this a medium to convey aesthetics. So like you have stuff like your Limbo,
Mm-hmm.
you know, which like Limbo is neat. Like I like Limbo, but whenever anyone talks about Limbo, everyone's favorite thing about Limbo is how it looks.
Yeah.
It's not so important. And like, you know, if you look at something like Braid, which is a similar thing, and like how that looks and sounds, and the mechanics do tie into the narrative of that, but it's become this weird, like, I don't know, just like if I have this theming and look that I want to get across,
it's the fallback genre.
Yeah, it's like the new FPS.
Yeah, it's the default. If you've got a cool idea for a setting and a story, but not sure what to base the game around it, well, it's just fall back on puzzle platformer.
Right. Or like Contrast does that. Like there's a lot of games where I just feel like this is neat enough. You know, it's neat, but I'm just kind of I don't know, I'm just kind of sick of doing these kind of singular or barely multiple screen, you know, kind of reflex puzzle type things.
Yeah.
You know, from the side with like a haunting aesthetic. Like it's neat, but I'm just a little bit done with it.
It's been done. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It like, especially I think in the like indie subset specifically.
Yeah.
Like Portal's pretty much the one that's done it in AAA, and both Portals were really really good. But if everyone started suddenly making puzzle platformers in the AA, like everybody would go pretty sick of them as much as they have generic military FPSs. So
it's like how in the indie comics scene, biographical comics are like everywhere,
right?
And like a good biographical comic, I like. It's just too much. They're indie comics to biographical comics are the same thing as like mainstream comics are to superheroes. Like I just want a wider variety of genre. Mm-hmm. I guess it's neat. Like I don't know if I'm going to pick it up again, but it is cool. It's, you know, judging on pass fail, it passes. But
yeah, I agree.
It's like for fans of the genre, is a thing, a douchey thing to say, but like if you're into this kind of stuff, look at it, and if that kind of thing doesn't seem like it bothers you, I'm fairly sure it's probably pretty short too.
Yeah,
like, there's no way this game goes on for like 30 hours.
Right.
So it's probably something you can beat in a couple afternoons if you're real into how it looks. So
I agree.
One of the things too that I noticed is like the backgrounds look really cool and stylized, but the way your guy controls the fact that he's in a clay makes him kind of clang. The weird, like I can aim in a different direction than I'm walking. Like pointing your flashlight backwards while walking forwards and stuff.
It's very paper dolly.
Yeah.
Like each segment's just like on a single kind of fully rotatable joint, and it doesn't really flow.
And like the settings look really good that way. The person looks a little bit discordant to me.
Yeah.
So, but you know, good, but it's not my favorite thing.
All right, so with that, let's go ahead and jump right into OlliOlli.
Let's ollie into OlliOlli.
So OlliOlli is a skateboarding game. It's like skateboarding platformer, I guess is the way you'd put it. That was developed and published by Roll7. It originally came out on the Vita, But it is now available on Windows, Mac, Linux, and the PS3 and PS4.
Yeah, on just about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a like a side-scrolling skate mastery kind of twitch reflex game.
Yes. It is I like starting off playing it. I felt it was like the co-op of skateboarding games. Like it's a game that's just all control, and everything else is kind of done for you. Like all you have to do is do the control. It'll automatically skate forward for you, and you're just doing your jumps, doing your tricks, and making sure you don't flub up, which is the easiest thing to do in this game.
Did you ever play Skate?
Yes, I did play Skate.
I've not played Skate, but the way this feels is how that game was described to me. If that makes any sense,
yeah. The thing about Skate though is it's still easier to get around. It's just the input of the like tricks is all stick based. So what you do with the sticks defines what trick you're doing, which this does as well, just with one stick. But as far as like there being more to it than that in Skate, there's still like areas to skate around and explore, and huge massive levels that have a whole bunch of stuff in them.
Yeah,
similar to Tony Hawk.
There's no exploratory element to OlliOlli.
Right.
Like it is the downhill jam level of Tony Hawk 1.
Exactly.
Like from the side, and all the levels are that with kind of variations.
Correct.
So, which makes a sense for what it's trying to do, because it's like, as the Tony Hawk series went on, it went further away from these like, let's create a perfect run, to these, more exploratory and more like finding your own things. And then the mechanics kind of had to grow to support that. So they added in manuals and reverts and everything, so you can still combo. And this is really that 2-minute perfect run thing that they're going after. And the goals for every level support that. So it's like, get this huge combo, get this huge point total for the end. It's really precise. I played for a couple hours and I really like it. But I never really got consistently perfect landings in the game. Like I still get sloppy landings pretty frequently because they add in this little bit where you have to tap when you land.
Right.
And the timing is hard. It's just hard for me. Like
it is definitely difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've played I think through the first couple levels, like in full, all 5 kind of portions of each level. And yeah, it's still crazy difficult. Like I'm starting to get down the controls a little better, but like especially to get some of the further on goals, there's things like the beginning of one of the levels, I think in the first level, first world, is you have to get a 18x combo, so you have to get 18 tricks in a row, and it has this, right at the beginning is this huge like set of rails with gaps between them that kind of perfectly set you up for that, but you have to do a different trick each time for it to count. So you have to do a trick up on, do one grind, do a different trick into a different grind, into a different trick, into a different grind, over and over again in order to get it. And like I just can't get my fingers to that quickly do different things.
Yeah. And then and then land it, and then still get the tap at the end.
Exactly.
Like rotating an analog stick is always going to feel a little bit less precise than like tapping a button.
Right.
So like most of the Tony Hawk tricks, none of them are Street Fighter or like Hadouken moves. Like all of them are just left, right, or up, down, and that's quick and precise, I feel like. It feels different. Like I understand the other approach and I like what this kind of goes for, but I found myself a lot of times going for a more ambitious trick, but the controller only registering me hitting up at the end. So I would just do an ollie.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Yeah. And like, I could see that being really frustrating if I was a perfectionist and trying to get everything, like if I was trying to complete that goal, like I just kind of tried to get into as many levels as I could. If I was trying to get all the goals, like that would drive me fucking bonkers, because like it's not like unresponsive. Like it feels like my fault, but it's just getting your hand to articulate the motions. Like in your rush to do the movement quickly, you're making shortcuts that are obscuring the motion you're doing.
I kind of feel like this would actually be better controlled with something like a fight stick, because in order to like execute the move you're trying to execute, the main thing is that at the end of it, you have to have the stick go to null input. You have to let go of the stick and have it return to its default. And doing like when I'm on a controller, my thumb doesn't want to leave that stick.
Yeah,
it's just not the typical way that I control games. Like my thumb is always doing something.
Mm-hmm.
So like getting accustomed to that was part of the hardest part of me getting used to trying to play this game, and I'm still not very good, but
Yeah, I bet you would control great with the fight stick, because the other thing is you have real clear demarcations when you're in one of the 8 directions.
mm,
Like you just have that little knot, so you feel it
right,
there on a fight stick, where in a way you don't on the Xbox controller.
yeah.
Which is how I played it.
Equating it to a fighting game motion is definitely very, very close. For the more complex tricks, it's always like quarter circles and half circles and
in
all that.
in
So
fact, like I bet you if you did this, if you had like that the Raspberry Pi thing from AGDQ and recorded your movements of doing a run in this game onto a fight stick, and then input them into a fighting game, like I could see them being a combo.
that'd be funny.
Like it's essentially that's what you're doing here, is like practicing like a perfect run in OlliOlli going from the top to the bottom is a really precise combo
yeah.
of controller motions. Just like really, really perfectly timed. And like that's what it's going after. Like if you like that idea of like getting that down, and there's a little bit more creative freedom in it, that's not like you have to memorize like this is the perfect thing, but like you're creating combos essentially.
Right.
It's all combo Tony Hawk, the way that like Castle Ravenloft is all encounter D&D.
Yep.
Which is cool. Like that's a really rad thing, I think. It looks really cool. Like it animates really well. It's got kind of an 8-bit side thing that looks a little bit like Cannibalt to me. A little bit more colorful than that. But I like that about it. Like I love skating games. I think I'm probably a little bit more on the exploratory side than this like mastery level. Like I never got to my Tony Hawk levels where I could just get trillions and trillions of points in combos. Like,
right.
I got satisfied making the, 100,000 thing I could do, and then felt good about it and moved on.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, this game definitely is for that other audience, because the goals you need to meet for like the point executions to get that portion of completing the level are just ridiculously high.
Yeah.
They require really good players in order to get through.
I like that. I want to watch more like of this on YouTube. Like I want to watch like really great players, because
there's so little.
Yeah. Yeah,
there's like not nearly enough.
Because it was a really well regarded game. They like announced a sequel, which is kind of crazy because it just came out real recently, and they're already like, here comes a sequel. But it just feels like it's made for that kind of thing, because it's just full of mastery. So like watching people be really good at something is always fun, and this game would express that really well, I think.
Yeah, the other thing I learned about the sequel that I'm really excited for is it's going to include a multiplayer mode.
Oh, that's fun.
So that's going to be rad. But, however, it also has not been announced for PC yet.
Yeah, and it has a fucking crafting system. like 20 or
I
like
hope not, does it?
Skater Die 2. No, it doesn't. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
But,
Jesus Christ. You had me really frightened for a second.
That Skater Die 2 kind of has a crafting system when you're like collecting tapes and CDs to convert them into new boards and tricks, and trading tacos like fat guys for spray cans. But like I wonder if it has a level editor, because that seems like a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, it does seem like a no-brainer. I'm pretty sure the original doesn't.
Yeah, I didn't find it if it does, and it wasn't in the version that I played. But
yeah,
the idea of like a level editor for this would be really fun, I think. Do some ROM hack style, like just real feats of reflex.
Yeah, crazy cool. You know what I want to see someone do in OlliOlli level editor is like a cool level where you don't have to press, like you just hold one direction, and it just will like take you through a cool environment, and like the whole time your guys doing crazy like perfect grinds that you would never accomplish on your own, but because you just held one button, the level set up perfectly to flow you through the level.
Like that, there's that Super Mario World.
Yeah,
ROM hack that plays the song. Like, and there's no controller inputs.
I want to see that.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
The other thing we never mentioned, though, the soundtrack for this game is fucking good.
Yeah, it is real good.
It's really good. This is one of my favorite, like, pick up and play when I have nothing else to do, because you can play it for 5 minutes at a time, and it's just got, like, really nice chill jams and throughout the whole thing. So
yeah, it's really good. Yeah, I like this game. I will come back to it in those specific situations. Like
exactly.
It makes me kind of wish. I mean, I don't wish I had a Vita, heaven forfend, but like if it would be awesome on a Vita though. Like it would be such a good like bus game or max game.
It would be.
Like it's perfect for that. Like sitting down in front of my computer, like it's not ideal.
Yeah, it's not the right environment for it. This definitely makes sense why it came out on Vita first.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not going to buy Vita. So
yeah, what are you gonna do?
But yeah, I think that's about all. The one thing I was going to say is that this is my current pick up and play game because it's definitely going to be soon replaced by Rebirth, which is the perfect flow into our Rebirth contest.
Yeah, as we mentioned last episode.
Yes, we mentioned last episode, but I will highlight again, and also in the next episode, that right now we are holding a contest where if you give us a review on iTunes, you can be truthful. We're not expecting perfect reviews, but give us a nice review of what your thoughts are on the show on iTunes, and we're going to take the whole selection of everyone who's reviewed the game, randomly select someone to receive a copy of Binding of Isaac Rebirth.
Yeah, and if you are tempted to give us like a 3-star review, let us know. Like, we're open to feedback.
Yeah,
say what you would like better about the show. And we have our next few episodes planned out. It's really exciting. It's all good stuff.
Yeah, they all sound really good.
And for some reason, playing this because you're talking about cool soundtracks reminded me that Hotline Miami 2 comes out at some point.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Like just in the amazing wealth of good games that we have ahead of us and we're currently in.
Oh man. Yeah, well, I'll have to look into when that's coming out.
Yeah, because that's...
Oh, and one more note on the contest real quick. So I'll be bringing it to your attention again next episode, and we will end it probably, I think the 28th or 29th of October is when we'll have a cutoff.
Yeah.
And in the November 1st episode, which is 3 days before the release of Rebirth, we will announce a winner and contact you in whatever way possible.
Yeah,
so
running it for about a month, and you might have to reach out to us and et cetera, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, if you hear a name on the show, if we don't see you on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, and we can't get to you first, then yeah, we will announce you on the show, and you can come find us on one of those, and we'll get you your game.
Yeah. So, not just for that reason, but also because you like this show, go on iTunes and rate and review it. Go to facebook.com/checkitoutcomrade to talk to us there. And you can also submit game suggestions and stuff at Duckfeed.tv/contact.
Yep. And also Twitter at Comrade Podcast.
Indeed.
So that's about all the social media places we choose to exist on. So.
Yeah. There's no Instagram.
Nope. No Instagram.
No Instagram.
It's like screenshots of games and filters.
Yeah, we don't have an LO or like a Tinder account. Yeah, we don't have a Grindr. Check it out, Grinders.
Oh shit.
Yeah. All right, guys. See you guys in a couple weeks.
See ya.
Bye.